I love this question because it lets me show you guys how I actually invest as a millionaire. I know you don't need $50,000 to do this. This strategy is the same whether you have $100 to invest, $500 to invest, $50,000 to invest. So let's say in this example, we are investing for financial freedom. So for long-term investing, think 5 or more years. What I follow is something called the 3-fund portfolio strategy. And the reason why I do that is something called diversification. Basically what that means is you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. You're not trying to guess the future. You're not trying to guess which company or which industry is going to do best. You own a little bit of everything. So basically you win no matter what the market does. First part of this portfolio would be the total US market, not just the S&P 500. That's only 500 large companies in America. There are still small companies and mid-sized companies. If you're in the US, something like VTI, which is like a basket of stocks, and it's the total US market. Then you want to add an international because markets move in cycles. Yeah, sometimes the US is winning, but sometimes it's other countries. Vanguard is actually predicting that international is going to outpace the US over the next decade, meaning you're going to make more money having international stocks in your portfolio if they're right. So to add that in, you would do something like VXUS. And now if you wanted to make this even more simple, you could just do an all-in-one investment like VT. If you're in Canada, you can do this really easily with a simple asset allocation fund. Vanguard and iShares have some really great ones. Then you would add in bonds, okay? Bonds are the boring but important part. You have stocks in your portfolio for growth, and then you have bonds for stability and income. Now, the amount of bonds that you have in your portfolio depend on your time horizon. So if we look at something like the 120 or 110 minus your age rule, and let's say you're 30 years old, using 120 minus your age, you would have 90% stocks, 10% bonds. And you can do that with a simple bond ETF, again, a basket of bonds. If you want to add in extra passive income, you could do a high dividend ETF or a real estate investment trust. But if you're just starting out, I would keep those to less than 10% of your total portfolio. Because if you chase too much income before you actually focus on growth, it can kill your total returns. Now for me, I also have a portion of my money in private investments, and basically those are not tied to the stock market, so they're not as volatile, and they typically pay a higher cash flow. And sorry, my phone has been blowing up this whole time, but those are part of the reason why I'm able to make multiple 6 figures a year in passive income without actually selling any of my stocks right now. Now, something I think that people don't talk about enough is something called sequence of returns risk. So when you are getting to the point that you are going to be living off of your money, you need to be thinking, okay, what if the stock market crashes early on into my retirement or into my financial freedom? Do I have the cash available or cash equivalents available to make it so that I don't have to sell my stocks while they are down, meaning I'm not locking in my losses? I'm running out of time here, but I do this with a GIC ladder. If you guys want more information about that, I can make another video. You can also do this with bonds or certificates of deposit if you're in the US. It's the same framework no matter how much you're actually investing. And if you want to learn more, I have a free investing masterclass on my website for you guys under freebies.